I mean, I remember Bill Maher telling me, kids are stupid. Well, he goes, why is family now based around children, you know? He goes, children are just stupid adults. That's his view of things. But I have the exact opposite view. I remember my child when he was in preschool. I remember going to preschool. It was the most wonderful place I've ever seen. It was the most magical thing I've ever seen, those children. Even if you see, like, kids say the darndest things or something, you know, it's delightful, you know? And there's they have, you know, are you familiar with Stendhal syndrome?
No.
Stendhal was, whatever his name was, I'm sure.
Stendhal?
Augustine Stendhal, whatever that guy was in the 16th century. But he had, you know, he showed art in an art gallery. And he had all the greatest art of Europe, you know. And people would come in and they would sometimes suffer what later became known as Stendhal syndrome. The art would overwhelm them, and they would actually break down and squeal with hysteria, and then cry, you know, and then go back and forth, you know, just from the beauty of the art.
Yeah.
And this was, and then it became a syndrome that now is more of just, it doesn't have to be art. It's just, it can be you're so sensitive to the world that you're constantly heartbroken, or you're constantly the opposite. But children have that. Children squeal with delight one moment and are crying the next. They feel terror at it. We can't feel the terror of a child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though our terrors are real, but if we ruminate on death, we have these intellectual layers that have to get broken through. A child is much more terrified by a blanket hanging on the, you know, over on the bedstand that looks like a monster.
Yeah.
And it's real.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about children, is they're pure and they're real. And when I see them when I saw them in the preschool, they were all different. And that's what, to me, I know society has to work and people have to get, you know, I guess they do. But when I go to see children, it's the most lovely thing, because they're all different and they're all beautiful and everything. And then they grow up and everybody's the fucking same, you know what I mean?
I was going to say, my friend Joe, who's an artist, he came over and he saw my really young daughter had painted something. And, you know, Joe's like struggling art, like really trying to make it, and that's all he does. And there was some portrait, and there were two suns in the picture, like two suns in the sky. And he was just like, he really was just stared at it for the longest time. I didn't really take notice, but he walked and he just pointed to it on the way out. And he goes, I could never do that. And I was like, you could do that. I mean, you're the most imaginative. He's like, no, I could never do that and feel that that was the right thing to do, like your kid did. And then he went on, but I guess that is a really huge intellectual conversation that all artists have, like that, stripping away convention, stripping away even the intellectual layers of sorrow or whatever it is, or terror. And it's like he could never do it and feel that that is right. He would feel it was a contrived thing or an effort to do that. Like it would never be pure.
Yeah.
In a word.
And that's why, like, people say children are the future. I'm like, fuck that shit. They're the present.
Yeah.
You know, the future, they're just us.
Well, it's
what the fuck is that? You know, you think they're going to grow up and be children and be, you know what I mean? They're just going to be like us.
No, it's because they're like, I mean, you could see some of the art of my daughter on the wall. That's a self-portrait up there. And the thing is, there was no fear at any point. Like, sometimes we'll do this thing where
there's no fear. There's no ambition. There's no self-consciousness in that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and then we'll sit across from each other, and we do this thing where we both do portraits of each other at the same time. Oh. And mine are always correct in the angular part of her nose, and hers are always like almost make me see myself in a different way when I see them, you know?
Yeah. Yours are facts, and hers are truth.
Wow. See that? You got me there.
Especially because
that...